So now we will talk about the third way, which is virus block the interferon response. Now the third way of the survival inside the host cell is by blocking the interferon response. Okay, now consider this is a cell, right? And it has been infected by virus, like it is somehow infected by virus. So in order to alert other virus or other adjacent cells, it will release a protein which is known as interferons. What are interferons? Interferons are actually proteins released by infected cells. So in order to, why they are releasing this interferons? So in order to alert the adjacent cells that please increase the defense system so you don't get affected by the virus. So when the virus attacks the cell, this cell, the infected cells release a protein known as interferons, and these interferons alert the adjacent cells that please move, do something, increase the defense system. So in order that you won't get caught by the virus or you will also get infected by the virus. So that's why they're releasing proteins, the interferons, to alert. But what virus do? They block the interferon. They change the gene of interferon. They alter the interferon. They block the interferon. So when they will block the production of interferons, obviously it won't produce an alert to the other adjacent cell, and they won't get to know that virus is coming or not. So what interferons interfere in virus proliferation. Now what is this? Proliferation means replication, right? So what virus do, when virus infect the cells, these cells produce interferons, and these interferons are the proteins which alert the adjacent cells and say to the cells that increase defense system. So these interferons actually interfere the virus proliferation. How? When these interferons will produce, other cells will get to know that virus has attacked some cells, so they will get alert. They will increase their defense system and they will do something. They will make antibodies. Obviously they will do some action in order to kill the virus. So when they will kill virus, so obviously the application of virus will be disturbed, it will be killed. So that's why interferon interfere in virus proliferation. So what virus do? Virus actually block the interferons. So actually virus block the interferons. So when they will block the interferons, they will decrease the defense system and the adjacent cells won't get alert. So number 4th is inactivating major histocompatibility complex. Now what is this? Okay, major histocompatibility, MHC. Let's write the full form, short form, major histocompatibility complex. It is a molecular marker. Now what does it mean? Molecular marker means it is a sequence, or you can say it is a set of genes that code. So what is MHC? What is major histocompatibility complex? Major histocompatibility complex is actually a molecular marker Now what does that mean? It is a sequence, or you can say it is a set of genes that will code. So what happens actually? This is a T cell. Consider this is a T helper cell. Okay, it contains the sequence. It is having MHC, right? Now whenever any pathogen comes, it identifies, as MHC identifies that pathogen. When this will go, now this T helper cell will show this sequence, this antigen, or you can say this sequence to B cell, and what B cell will do? It will produce antibody. Now look, consider this is a T helper cell. It contains MHC, major histocompatibility complex, which what is this? It is a set of genes which is present on T helper cell, T cells, right? When any pathogen, any virus will come, it will identify, the MHC will identify the pathogen, and then when it will identify, then this will show its sequence to B cells. Then B cells in response to that will create antibodies of this pathogen, so it can easily kill. So what is the role of MHC? It identifies a pathogen. So what actually happens? Actually happens? Virus deactivate MHC. When this virus will deactivate MHC, obviously it won't be able to identify. When it won't be able to identify, so there will be delay in the production of antibody. Why will be there? Because I talked about here, like T cell contain MHC. This MHC identifies pathogen. Now this MHC shows the sequence of pathogen to the B cell in order to create antibodies. When this MHC will be not there, so how antibody will be produced? So when virus actually deactivate MHC, and then how it won't be able to identify, so there will be delay in the production of antibodies. Now what happens? Virus suppress T helper cells. Okay, now coding sequence of link. Now we'll talk about linkage. Now what is linkage? I will tell you how it is coming over here. Linkage means tendency of gene which remains same from one generation to another. Now what is linkage? Tendency of genes to remain same from one generation to another. For example, we are having here tall multiply by short, right? T multiply by TT. So a gamete T will capital T will come and T will come, and they will fuse together and they will make TT. So will be known as F1 generation. Like, okay, now when this TT multiply by TT, whatever 4 gametes will be formed, right? T, and now you will see this on the checkerboard. T. Now the genotype. As you can see, the genotype here will be, this is tall, this is tall, this is tall, and one will be dwarf. So this will genotype. Talking about phenotype, there will be 1:2:1, because TT 1 is there, TT, and this one small and one capital is only 2 are there, and 1 and 2 and 1 having 2 small t is 1, so the phenotype will be this. So as you can see over here in F1, before producing the F1 generation, we were having 2 capital T and 2 small t, and now 1 capital T, once we are here, like these both are same. So it means that genes genes are there from generation to generation, they are same. So the tendency of genes which remains same from one generation to other is known as linkage. Now how it is coming here, there's a sentence known as, here it is a sentence actually, in major histocompatibility complex, coding sequence of linked genes. What does this mean? This means that major histocompatibility complex remains same from generation to generation. Like my parents are having MHC, I'm also having MHC, right? And my generation will also have MHC, so my generation will also have MHC. So it means that coding sequence of linked genes means these genes, like what is MHC? It's a set of genes that code. So these set of genes always remains same from one generation to another generation. So I hope the concept of MHC is clear to you, that MHC is responsible for the identification of the pathogen when this MHC and this identified sequence will be showed to B cells, and these B cells will produce antibodies. So when this MHC will be deactivated, so there will be delay in the production of antibody.